So I finally played John Wick Pro model, and of course it's always like, Cary, what do you think? What? So here is an example of my experience with John Wick Pro.
Hey!
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel where I talk and do everything pinball, and a special thank you to the over 9,600 of you that hit the subscribe button down below. So look, this is merely my opinions and how I feel about the game in its current state, meaning, yes, I am well aware that the code is only at 0.81 now, but I played it at 0.80, so I don't want to hear any crap about, oh, the code's early, because I'm not really going to be hitting on the code so much, so I'm not going to worry about that. Might as well just tell you how I feel about the code at this point in time. I feel like there's plenty code there to chew on while you learn how to play the game and the shots and the layout and everything. So, with that being said, I think there's only one little thing at this point in time that I would like to be changed, and that is the ball save on the out lanes. If it's lit, then that means that that's not going to give you a ball save. If it's flashing, that means it will give you a ball save. And I don't know, with the experience of every other game that I've played, ball save entirely lit means you will get a ball save. So with it being the opposite on this game, it's a bit confusing. So that's just my only, like, what the hell's going on when it comes to the code at this point in time. Let's talk about the audio. So the audio is fine. Nothing annoying, nothing bad. The music is good enough and everything. It didn't really feel like it was amping me up or anything like Sword of Rage typically does. But there was nothing bad on the audio. I feel this time I would like to hear more of Ian McShane. I don't know if he's utilized enough. Again, code is early. He could have more callouts down the road. Now, let's talk about the video assets, and we're going to go straight into the movie assets that they're talking up and how awesome that is in 4K quality and stuff like that. Doesn't matter that it was in 4K because the monitor that is in your pinball machine isn't going to be showing you 4K, whatever. Anyways, those movie assets are going to be very rarely seen. I mean, they're constantly going while you're playing, but you're going to be primarily focused on trying to keep this ball alive, okay? So the movie assets, although that they're there, and that's nice, but I do want to compliment on the actual animations that Stern created themselves over there with the in-between the ball or when you drain and lose your ball and stuff like that. All those look really good, so I will give up the hats off to that. The thing that I'm guessing is a little bit, I don't know, off to me is you're going to see a map and what looks like watermelon seeds or like the little teardrop shaped items, and I'm assuming that those are supposed to be basically markers where enemies are at around you and stuff. But I don't know, when I see them, they just look like watermelon seeds. It's a little thing, but every time I saw them, it was like, what the hell is that? So maybe there can be some kind of improvement on that. I don't know. But then when it comes to video assets, I'm pretty pleased with what I see so far. It does pretty well on showing me what to do. And I say showing me, meaning on screen, when you go into mode, do this before this and stuff like that. So as of right now, code-wise with animation, then it's well informative enough at this point in time. So let's talk about what's really important, and that is how it plays and the layout and everything and the enjoyment of it. And so from my perspective on this game, and this is the reason why I had that particular clip at the beginning of this video and how I feel, is that this game is hard, okay? Now, it may not be hard for everyone. If you are a skilled tournament player, then more than likely this is going to be right up your alley because of the fact that it's not going to be an easy shooter. And when I say it being hard and a difficult shooter, it's because when you hit the shots that you want, and that you need to hit the ramps, the lanes, or whatever that you're supposed to, they feel like butter. It feels good, and a majority of the shots are safe to make. We'll go over that in a little bit. But when you miss, then you're going to spend the next couple of seconds, if not longer, just trying to recover the ball to get back in control and cradle it so you can make another attempt at trying to make a shot. Because so many times, guys, I lost my ball equally, straight down the middle and on the left and right out lanes. It was a drain monster. Bouncing off everywhere, the slingshots are brutal, always hitting it to the out lanes. I mean, if you don't nudge while you play this game, there's no way that you're going to be able to get a high enough score or progress throughout the game. This is a game that you're going to have to nudge, unless you just get all the shots down to where you're never going to miss. But even if you do land all your shots, there's still a moment of chaos, and again, gonna go over that in just a moment. So let's talk about the playfield and the shots, going from the right side of the playfield and fanning over to the left. So the very furthest shot to your right is the weapons crate. Now again, this is on the Pro. So you need to hit the weapons crate area 3 times in order to light the first mode. And then after that, it's going to progressively require you to hit more and more. So in that point, it seems very wood choppy to consistently have to hit your ball over there. And it wouldn't be as bad, but I feel like on the premium, it's going to be much more satisfying because you're not going to have to try as hard to get it as further over because you're going to have a giant weapons crate box that's at least 2 inches longer to make up for the gap that is there on the Pro. You've got to hit that weapons crate target on the very tip of your left flipper or get a little bit of an assistance on a rebound from your left sling in order to hit that over there. So with that being said, I think the premium is going to be a little bit more enjoyable because you're not going to have to probably work as hard to get the weapons crate shot because it's closer, essentially. So going past the weapons crate, then you have that feeds back to your right flipper, so it's a safe shot. And the next shot over to the left of that is going to be your 180 flip that feeds back to your right flipper. Very safe shot. Also, like I said, every shot, just to clear the air, every shot that you make successfully will feel good. So let's just get that out of the way right now. The next lane over is going to be up the middle where you have a Newton ball to the Continental. And if you go straight over that, that's going to feed back into your left orbit, which will feed to your left flipper every time. Now, a little further over from the Newton ball is, of course, the car bash. Now, this is something I believe which takes the Pro up a notch. I feel like if this car did nothing, just sat there and just took hits, it would not be as satisfying to play. But I think with this car giving you a little bit of a nudge back whenever you hit it, it gives it just, I don't know, just a little more interaction, and it makes it feel like you've done something. So I think that definitely takes it up a notch. I would just wish that that car bash beat back like that if we had something like that down there in the weapons crate area. I mean, even on the premium, the weapons crate doesn't do any kind of force feedback or anything, and I think that would be kind of cool if it actually moved a little bit as well whenever you hit it. Kind of worked as another like slingshot of sorts. Then further over, you have your center ramp. This is backhandable, but it's going to be tricky to hit on both flippers. This is, for whatever reason, a difficult shot for me to get nailed down. But again, once you make it, it feels so good. And the thing is, if you don't make it all the way up that ramp, then your chances of a straight down the middle are extremely high. Once again, you're going to need to get your nudging down. And the shot next to it that goes up the center into the pop bumper or the circle club area is another shot that if you don't make it all the way up there, chances are it's going to go straight down the damn middle. Now, at first, I thought I wasn't going to appreciate or like the pop bumper region up there. I'm just like, oh, great, I'm going to head it up there and have to wait for it to come back down. And after playing it for a while, I was like relieved to get it up in the pop bumper area because that gave me a moment of rest. Like, whew, okay, good. Now I can somewhat take a breather from constantly having to nudge and keep the ball in play. The next shot over is your left ramp. Very familiar, especially for those that have played a lot of Foo Fighters. It's a safe bet that it's going to feed directly back to your left flipper, so no worries there. Once again, feels good when you hit it. And then Your final shot, which is your left orbit, that feeds basically sometimes to your right flipper. But more times than not, when you hit that left orbit, it's going to feed all the way and hit the bottom portion of your right slingshot, which turns into chaos because now the ball is going from slingshot to slingshot or bouncing off the walls or whatever. So hitting an orbit and then turning your game into chaos is obviously, it's a worry kind of thing. And like I said, sometimes it feeds to your right flipper, but a lot of the times it's going to hit that right slingshot. Then, of course, you have your left furthest shot, which is the scoop area. I think that's a little bit of a oddly enough, it was a little tricky to hit. It's on the tip of that right flipper for you to hit. I don't think I was able to ever backhand that. I don't think you really can. A lot of these shots are backhandable, but I don't think you can hit that furthest left on the left flipper. It has to be your right. And yeah, it's a regular shot. Nothing. I don't even know if that was a satisfactory kind of moment, because even when you get it in that particular scoop, it's not going to be in there very long. There's no kind of big fanfare or anything like that when you get your extra ball, at least at the current moment of code. So you get it in there, it's going to come out pretty quick, and it's usually a moment of chaos as well because it's going to slam into your right flipper, if I remember correctly. So basically, guys, the game is fast. When you nail your shots, they feel like butter. It feels good, but this is a hard game. I feel that if you thought Ninja Turtles was a hard game, then yes, this game is going to be hard as well, because when you make your shots, they feel good, but when you miss, you prepare for chaos. And that's basically how I feel about the Pro at this current moment. This is definitely a game where it's going to keep you entertained, by meaning you're going to have to be working to keep the ball in play, unless you're just so good where you're just constantly just nailing every shot, which for the majority of us that play pinball isn't the case. Now, for you higher skilled tournament players and stuff, this game is probably going to be like, yeah, it's a nice little challenge, it's pretty good, kind of thing. Whereas the rest of us are just scrambling like, oh God, try to nudge and keep the ball in play. Now, obviously, the art for the Pro, I already assumed was pretty good. When it comes to the lack of guns on the playfield and the art like that, honestly, I didn't even notice it, guys. And I feel that definitely when you hear the guns firing and stuff like that, that also adds to it. Even though there's nothing on the playfield in regards to guns, you're still going to get the sound effects that go along with it, as far as like seeing things on screen. Unless you're just that skillful to where you can play this game and also see the 4K movie assets that are available, then I think you're going to get everything you need when it comes to guns. But I'm pretty sure the mod makers, once they get into this game and actually get one on hands to start crafting these mods, we're going to see some pretty cool stuff. It just sucks that you've got to spend at least $7,000 for a machine and then turn around and spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars more to make the game what it should be. Another thing before I forget, when it comes to gameplay and layout and stuff like that, the main skill shot is kind of a short plunge. I'm not a big fan of short plunges. Those that have hear me talk about Guns N' Roses and stuff like that, I do not like short plunge skill shots. I think it was Toy Story 4 was another one as well. I just want to just yank the ball back and get it into play. So that is also something I didn't care for, was just the short plunge skill shot. But that's, oh well, a few extra points on the board. For me, it's all about my overall experience. And my overall experience with John Wick Pro was high anxiety and entertaining by all means, but also exhausting at the same time. But I definitely would need more time on it so I can really narrow in and get the shots down. But it's one of those things where it is a harder game, guys. I mean, I literally walked over to Elton John, that was also there, and played a very long game of Elton John. Got high score number 3 for crying out loud. So I know it's not that I just suck at pinball. It's just that I currently suck at this game. So let that be known that this game is definitely going to take some time to really narrow in and get better at the shots. Unless you're just a badass player, then you probably already got it down. So my overall first impressions after playing it, the game is good, okay? Just that. Nothing spectacular, nothing special, nothing new, but it is entertaining to play, and it will definitely keep you, like, on your toes to keep the ball in play. Is it a game that I plan on owning? No, it's nothing special enough to where I feel like it needs to join the lineup or I need to replace something back there with it. But if it's on location somewhere, by all means, yes, I'm going to put some games on it. But it's not enough for me to own. And for those of you that are on the fence on whether or not you should buy this game, by all means, I recommend you do seek out a location somewhere and get some time on it before you go getting into a game that potentially could just be too difficult for you. And sometimes difficulty or just shots that if you miss and it's just instant regret and then you lose your ball can be somewhat demeaning for people. So by all means, give the game a shot on location first before you go just throwing money out the window at a game that you may just find too difficult. But chances are, if you thought Turtles was difficult, then this game is going to be difficult for you as well. God, it's a sentence that I never thought I would say, and I honestly want to say that Elton John beats John Wick. Oh,